Good afternoon. Today we are joined by Mr. B.K. Singh, who is the ex-chief conservator of Forest, Karnataka. Welcome, sir. My first question to you is, recently during the Lok Sabha session, the Forest Amendment Bill 2023 was passed. What do you think about this bill?
As it is, we have seen in public space there are a lot of opposition thinking that the forest will be open for, especially the natural forest will be open for a lot of diversion cases for zoos, for safari, for tourism infrastructures, for things like that. So it is, which is going to be suicidal, because once, I think 2 years back, we saw a safari constructed in Corbett Tiger Reserve from Kalagarh Gate side. We saw a lot of good trees have been destroyed, have been cut down and removed, and about 2-hectare areas of the forest were thickly wooded areas where forests existed earlier. Now the water stands they have converted into the water hole, and there is no necessity of having safaris and zoos inside the natural forest. Natural forests should be sanctum sanctorum, and it should have least of human interference. And I think opening it for zoos and safaris and for tourism infrastructure, and opening the forest for even private investment, like growing trees on forest land by private individuals, private companies. We do not have a very good experience about that. And it is not fair that we should have opened it for that.
My second question is that if the bill is implemented, how will it affect the forest and the indigenous community who are dependent on the forest for their livelihood?
No, on indigenous community, I have a different take altogether. In fact, we had Forest Rights Act in 2006. That has been one of the biggest destruction which in the history of India, the biggest destruction the forests have been subjected to in the history of India. And therefore, Forest Rights Act, which was started in, its implementation was started in 2008, and now saying that everything should have their consent, the Gram Sabha's consent, is not very fair. I'm totally against taking their consent, because they have already got more than their share. They have, once this act came, I'm talking of Forest Rights Act in 2008. Once it came, then the forests were plundered for cultivation, and a lot of forest areas were cleared. People occupied it and claimed rights over the land, whereas the occupation was admissible in terms of, in case of other traditional forest dwellers, if they were 75 years of occupation, they were having a 75 years of occupation as on 13th December 2005, and tribal also should have had occupation on that day. But what really that act did was, everybody, it was open for everybody, and then a lot of tribals and other traditional forest dwellers have gone, cut down the tree growth and plowed the area for cultivation. So already that act has done enough damage, and in my assessment, I have written a book on that. Forest Rights Act accelerated deforestation. I have written a book some 2 years back. The book has been published by Notion Press, Chennai, and I have pointed out statewide, and the states like Central Indian states and Peninsular Indian states have suffered a lot. Like, to name a few, uh, we have lost a lot of forests. After this act came into existence, we have lost a lot of forests in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Telangana, Jharkhand, Odisha, etc. So, Forest Rights Act, now this act coming in conflict with Forest Right Act is no meaning. It is only some few people here and there, they have flagged this issue, and it is a meaningless issue. And this acts will not interfere with Forest Rights Act at all.
So many activists, especially of the Himalayan region or of even the Bengal region, are saying that this act has the potential to disrupt the geologically sensitive areas. What is your take on that?
Yeah. No, that is this act. See, if you take up large scale deforestation, if you change the land use pattern in a very big way, then it will have consequences. You will end up destroying the glaciers. You will end up destroying the catchment of several rivers, because Himalayas provide us a lot of water to the plains of Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, Punjab, Haryana. All these rivers which come from Himalayas, it is lifeline for the entire North India. Entire Indo-Gangetic plain, Brahmaputra plain, all these rivers come down from Himalayas. So, it will not be good for us to destroy the existing land use in a very big way. But I wrote a piece on this when this act was being debated by JPC. Before the JPC, I wrote a piece in Deccan Herald, and I have said that I have no hesitation in allowing 100 kilometers from international border for for the purposes of security of the nation. I have no hesitation. That we must admit, because we are here on the other side of our border. China is there, so we should not be very strict about it. And for the purposes of security of the nation, we can relax. But for all other public purposes, for any number of purposes which has been written in the amendment, it should not be relaxed. I admit that a lot of agriculture lands and lot of agriculturists have converted at least part of their land for growing trees. And therefore, agroforestry has been quite successful. The trees outside forests have been growing. The cover outside forest has been growing. Wherever, but in the same report, it says that the cover within the notified forest is either decreasing or stationary. Few states it is decreasing, few states it is stationary. So that is a matter of concern. Natural forests we are not increasing. And with this act, we will further destroy our natural forests. With this amendment of Forest Conservation Act amendment, we will further destroy our natural forests. We are facing the whole world, the entire globe is facing the climatic catastrophes. Every region is either facing the drought or the flooding. And if we destroy our natural forest, we will face these things with greater frequency, and the catastrophes will be more destructive. Planet is warming. That right from the industrial age, by now we have already warmed the planet by 1.1 degrees centigrade. And you know that if it is warmed to 1.5 degrees centigrade, you know what are the repercussions. IPCC and several other scientists and experts have come out, and all the reports are in public space, public domain, that says that the sea level will rise, the coastal cities will be in jeopardy. Coastal cities, how many people you will go on shifting from or relocating from one place to another? There is a limit to that. Big cities are there on the coasts. Visakhapatnam, there is a danger to. I think I saw the list last IPCC report. About 8-10 Indian cities on the coast are also facing the threat. So global and climatic catastrophes like flood, drought, diseases, because the forest also protects us against the diseases. So if you go on destroying, if you the global warming will go on aggravating, and then we will have again a lot of difficulties in keeping the status quo maintained, and the warming will bring more and more catastrophes. And at 1.5, even now the global leaders are telling that we will avoid reaching 1.5, but now there are all indications that we will be reaching 1.5 degree warming, maybe by 2040, 2050 or so.